Jeremiah and Alice, I'll start with you guys. So just introduce yourselves, share a wee bit about who you are, your story to this point, and then whet our appetites as to where the Lord's leading you next.
Yeah, so good evening, everybody. I am Jeremiah, and this is my wife, Alice. And for me, I suppose my mission journey actually, I would say, would begin here at the Bangor Worldwide Convention. As a child, I was brought along here, and I suppose it was initially just the intrigue and just being captivated by the adventurous stories that I heard. But I can remember distinctly, and this man, George Verver, has already been referenced tonight. I remember him speaking here when I was about 14. And it was just in those words in Isaiah that are known to many of us, "Here I am, send me." And I was so challenged that night to question myself, am I willing to go to where the Lord may lead me? Knowing that God has saved me from my sin, and that indeed, that sin is the only thing that I have contributed to my salvation. What can I give in return but obedience? Obedience to go and to make disciples of all nations. Now, for Alice, your journey was, I suppose, slightly different.
Yes, so my journey began a little bit later when I was in university, and through, I suppose, many divine appointments, I met people and had the opportunity to hear more about the unreached people in this world who have never had the opportunity to hear about Jesus. So that began thought processes in my mind. Then I got to know Jeremiah, and I also got to know the worldwide through that. And through that, we've been really challenged and encouraged to think more about how we use our lives to ensure that other people's eternities are secured through Jesus Christ and his way, the only way to salvation. So in our journey, we've been working alongside Arab World Ministries, and they've been really helping us discern what the need is, why we should go, and what our role in that could look like. So we have been praying for a long time about this, and I suppose as Christians we know we ought to pray. We know God hears our prayers, and we know that he answers, but then I still find myself surprised when he does. So we felt like we were wide open. We didn't really know where we were going, but we had a willingness, and now we stand in a position where God has really clearly directed us to North Africa, and we're going to be joining a team there hopefully in February, which Jeremiah will tell you a little bit more about.
Yeah, so as Alice referenced there, we really had a burden, I would say, for Muslim people, and the opportunity arose to go and serve in North Africa with AWM. Now, we're going to a region of 800,000 people, and of that 800,000 people, 6 of those people are Christians. Now, you consider the population of Belfast, the population indeed of the Ards Peninsula altogether, and 6 people are Christians. There's more Christians here in these first couple of rows than there is in that entire region. And for us, we are going to a region where the gospel has never had the chance to penetrate. And indeed, we would love you to partner with us in prayer. And as Jason mentioned, we will be across in the Global Village later on, and we would love you to come along, ask us questions. We've got some exciting plans for what we're going to be doing out there, but we would love to share that with you. Or indeed anybody here who is considering mission or is at some point along that journey, do please come over and ask us questions as well.
Super. And Peter and Neus, yeah, you guys are on the journey as well. You want to share a wee bit about your story?
Yes, indeed. Well, if Jeremiah's story starts with worldwide, ours really is centered around books and students. So tonight is really the theme of our lives in many ways. Books for me, I grew up in a Christian book-selling family. Books were the center of how really in the local church I was discipled and mentored and grew in my faith. And then going off to university, suddenly discovering a world that wasn't very Christian, a world where a third of my university was Muslim, and suddenly being startled by that. Books and literature evangelism became a central part of that. And I guess that's been such a rich blessing. But for me, it was growing up in Belfast. For Neus, it was a different story.
Yeah, so a bit like Alice. I was a little bit later on. So for me, it was more when I went to university. I met people in the Christian Union and some workers who were very, very patient with me when I look back now and realize. And it was even just in being part of doing some international student outreach that, it suddenly clicked with me, the gospel of grace, and understanding really, that go and make disciples of all nations, and not just understanding, but understanding why we would do that, and really understanding the heart response to all that God has done for me, and wanting to then serve him and bring glory to him through bringing disciples, so I guess that's part of, there's probably lots more to fill in, which is where you can come and hear the between now and then, or then and now.
Yes, so since both of us were at university, I guess it's been a long journey, nearly 14 years or so for me since I first started thinking, well, maybe this journey overseas would be something that's been filled with all sorts of things. I foolishly one night walked up at an event like this to one of the stalls and said, I'm interested in this part of the world. Is there anything I could do? And they said, oh, why not go on a holiday? And I thought, oh, what a great idea, a holiday, that sounds nice. And since then, well, the journey hasn't stopped. And so both through that and through many ups and downs, it's been a long journey, but one we hope will climax or start the next stage next year as we head to a similar part of the world as these guys. And I guess we'd love, again, if you want to come and chat to us about some of the ups and downs of those 14 years of what on earth does God do in our lives during that time? How come it's so long that it's taken, and the many different steps that we went on in the meantime, including attending things like Worldwide over the years. And we'd love to chat with you and share some more.
Thanks so much, guys. That's great. So please do make your way over to the Living Library afterwards. Thank you. And there's lots of other reps who are going to be there as well, sharing their stories. So really love you to avail of that afterwards.